This video is going to take you through the process of designing your Automata box inside of Fusion. I am going to actually design one from scratch and model the dimensioning as well as some geometry features that might be important if you haven't taken this much geometry yet, or not in geometry at all, or it's been a while since you've had geometry. If what you need to know is how to dimension and annotate the drawing, feel free to fast forward through any part of this that you do not need to see. I don't know at the beginning how long it's going to be. Now, you do have some latitude, I guess, in how you want to build your box. So we do have extra supplies in addition to the regular Automata kits. So I am not going to lock you down to like the specific sizes of the pieces that we have. We've had people glue pieces together. Last year we had people that sawed pieces of it to get the design that they wanted. So I'm not going to hold you to that, but you do need to be intentional in your dimensioning. So I'm going to go ahead and start by drawing a rectangle. And then I am going to dimension that rectangle, and I am doing this without a mouse because my mouse is at work and I am not. So it might take me a little bit longer. The boxes that we have are, like when you put them together, there's some overlap in the pieces, but they're like about like 4 inches by 5 inches by 4 inches, give or take some. So I'm going to make this 4 inches tall. And I'm going to make this 5 inches wide. It's not exactly that, and there's some flexibility with how you can actually like put the pieces together. Now I'm going to finish that sketch and then extrude this to 4 inches. And that's going to give me my basic box. Now, of course, the Automata box is hollow. So what I'm going to do is draw a sketch on this surface, which some of you have done and you're playing around with Fusion, and some of you have not done that yet. But when you go to create a sketch, you don't have to pick one of the 3 primary planes. We do to start, but once we have some planes in our design, we can draw on any of those planes. And so what I'm going to do is actually pick this plane to draw on, and Fusion will rotate that around. And I'm going to draw a rectangle inside. Now, here's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this particular video is to get like the thicknesses correct on this. So the thicknesses of the little board pieces that we have are about 1/4 of an inch. So in order to dimension this, I'm going to do this rather than dimension the rectangle from like give it its dimensions and try to locate the center. I'm going to do this. I'm going to click on the top line there, and then this line right here, and I'm going to dimension that to be 0.25 inches. And then I'm going to do the same thing all the way around. And that's going to ensure that my cutout is what I want it to be. So here. Now there are other ways that you could do this. So you could do a center rectangle and dimension the center from the edges. You can dimension the actual rectangle itself, which I am not doing. You'll note that I'm not doing that. I'm just making sure that it is 1/4 of an inch away on every side, and then Fusion is adjusting the size of the rectangle. So that way I'm completely sure that this perimeter here that I'm outlining is the size of the actual pieces that we have. Now what I'm going to do is a cut extrusion in, and if I turn this around, it is 4 inches deep. So if this back piece needs to be 1/4 of an inch thick, I'm going to extrude that 0.375 inches in. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that sketch. And now what we have is we have this rectangle on this face, and I'm going to extrude that. Now I want to extrude in so that I'm cutting it in, but I want to make sure that I have 1/4 of an inch left in the back. So if you notice right here, see that that's negative. I want to make sure that I am doing a negative extrusion here. It just means I'm going in the other direction, and I want that to be 3.75. And that will make sure that the back here is the thickness that I want it to be. Okay, so there's my Automata box. Now, I'm going to do a couple of things here geometry-wise, as well as introduce a couple of new skills. So if I want the axle of my Automata to go straight through the center, which you probably do, because if you put it somewhere other than the center, what's going to happen is you're going to have like a lot of space on one side of what's called your cam, which is what's going to give you the motion that you want. But you'll run into the risk of like the cam hitting the edge of the box in another direction. So what I'm going to do here is create a sketch, and I'm going to create a sketch on this side panel here. And then I'm going to use some geometry. So I am going to draw a line, and over here you'll notice it says line type, and there's this option that we have here for something called a construction line. Now we are going to do construction lines in a future lesson, but if you can get it now, even better. So this is a line that's actually not part of my drawing and sketch here, but that I am going to use. So what I'm going to do is come up here to this corner, and you'll notice that Fusion marks off that corner. And I'm going to draw this line diagonally across, and you'll notice that it's dashed. And so that means that I can see that there's a line there, but Fusion is not going to recognize this line in terms of doing an extrusion or anything like that, because this is a line, if you remember the definition of construction line, this is a line that is intended to guide my design, but it's not necessarily part of the design. And now I am going to draw a construction line going across the other way. And here's the geometry piece. If you have a rectangle and you want the center of the rectangle, the lines intersect at the center. So the midpoint of those lines is going to be the very center. Now, something I always forget to do is I forget to turn off my construction line. I do it all the time. I am sure you will watch me do this in class, where I just like keep on drawing, and then I'm like, oh, it's still in construction mode. It's super easy to change that. If you wanted to change it over, you could simply, if I come over here to select, I can select the line, and then I can have the option to change it from construction line to a regular line or back to a construction line that way. So if you do forget, not a big deal. Now I am going to draw a circle, and I'm going to make sure that circle is right in the center. And when you do your actual automatas, this is the geometry that you want to employ with it, because you're going to want to physically drill these holes in the center. Otherwise, your axle is going to be off, and it's definitely not going to work right. And then the dowel rods that we have, this could vary depending on what you have, but usually about 3/10 of an inch. If you use 1/4 of an inch, it's a little bit too small. So we're going to make that about 3/10 of an inch. And now I'm going to extrude that hole all the way through. Now, this is where I really, really wish I had a mouse. I can zoom in. If it's a little bit hard to see the piece, you'll notice what I just did. I just zoomed in so I could see it better. And I'm going to take that hole, and I'm going to do a cut extrusion all the way through the other side. And I can like pull that all the way through. It's only going to matter that you have it all the way through out there if you intend to design something else that goes out there, which we don't intend to do. You'll notice over here with the extrusion, it says cut, and that's just Fusion's way of telling us that this is an extrusion that is cutting through the material that we have. And so now I have my holes, and they're beautifully lined up. I know we can't, there we go. like sort of see them. There it is. You can see that that goes all the way through. Now, the last thing I need to do is put some kind of configuration of holes in the top, okay? And so, yeah, this is like really, really up to you what you want to do with this. I'm going to go ahead and create a sketch, and I'm going to create it on that top face there and just quickly do the same thing that I did on the other one, because I do need stuff lined up. And again, with your geometry, if you don't actually do this, well, you will have some problems. Now I'm going to do one other construction here. I am actually going to go find the midpoint over here. So notice, like, if you look at the left hand side there, see how I'm moving the cursor up and down, and then all of a sudden you see this triangle. That lets me know that I'm at the midpoint, and I'm going to draw that through to the other side. And the reason that I wanted to do that, and then I got to remember to turn this off, is let's say I want more than one hole. Okay, so I want a hole there, and then I want a hole here, and then I want one way down here. Now, for your actual automata, you do need to measure these out, because you are going to have some stuff underneath. And these holes will often vary in size. I'm going to make all of mine 0.3. But you do not have to. We have people use all different kinds of materials here, and we'll kind of play around with the drill bit. Okay, so I don't know what those are, but there they are. And now, to be efficient, when I go to extrude, I'm actually going to choose all of them, and I want to extrude them through that, but I don't want to go all the way through to the bottom. Okay, so you don't want to actually cut your hole through the bottom piece, so I need to make sure I stop before we get there. Okay, and now I have my personally designed automata box. So I know that took about 12 minutes for me to do, but hopefully if you bothered to watch it, you got some tips and some geometry for how to do this a little bit better yourself. Typically I do not save stuff that I'm doing. I just have a lot of cluttery stuff over the years, but I think I'm going to save this one. So I'm going to go from new drawing from design, and because I have not shared it, I will save it, Automata Box Design Demo. So hopefully I don't need to ever save that again. And this is all good. I'm gonna make this 8.5 by 11, and then we'll just hang out for a second while Fusion is doing its thing. This is fun. I'd pause it, but as soon as I pause it, it will unlock, I'm sure. There we go. Okay, I have no idea why my project is called Pen Design. Don't know why. Now, remember what we said in the previous lesson, doing these multi-views, that we can't just like pick whatever for the front. We need to make sure like that we're picking the right view, and that view is not the right view. So I'm gonna come over here, and last time top checked out for me, so yeah, that looks good. However, I'm not 100% sure that it's not upside down. I'm gonna go look at the right side. Let me see the bottom. Okay. top. I just want to make sure that when I go to do the top view that I'm going to see the holes in the top view. I want to see back. Okay. All right. I don't know if we're going to be okay or not. Okay, so I'm going to drop that. And I like the, I think I like the sizing on that. It actually feels a little bit big. I'm going to say 1 to 2.5. Yeah, okay, I think I like 1 to 2.5 a little bit better. And, oh, good. You can see where those hidden lines are. So we still have some hidden lines there for the different holes. And now I'll do projected view. I will select the parent view, and now it'll drop my top, my isometric, and my right view. Click the little check mark. Okay, so your task at this point is to create a fully dimensioned multi-view. Now, there's one dimension on here that I was thinking about this earlier that we actually can't get on this view. And the dimension I'm talking about, if you, I'm going to go ahead and make my isometric solid. The view that the part dimension I'm talking about is the thickness of that back wall. There is no way for us to dimension it. You can see the thickness of the back wall in two places. You can see it right. Okay, that's backwards from what I thought it would be. Right here. Okay, and you can also see it right there. However, you can't dimension it on those views because you'd be dimensioning to a hidden line. Okay. And this is the view where you can see the back wall, but you can't dimension it because the dimensions are not there. So we have a problem with that. Now, the way we're going to solve this is by annotating it. Okay, we're going to just annotate a particular dimension. And then, yeah, we're going to measure it in one spot and then make an annotation, which is a note, okay, on the screen. What you would need to do if you needed to dimension it, if it was something that we couldn't annotate, like let's say the back wall was thicker, okay, and we can't cover it in this all sides have a thickness of, you would have to do a section view, which is up here. You see where my mouse is hovering. It's a section view where we would slice the object in the middle and be able to see it from the side. And if I feel inspired later, I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get all these dimensions on here. So I'm going to go ahead and dimension the height. Okay, so there's my height. I'm going to put the width up here. I'm going to put that there, as well as I want to put this dimension over here. There's a method to my madness here. Okay, so those are the basic dimensions. Now you might drill your holes different diameters. Okay, now each hole needs to be dimensioned on the view where you can see the hole. And that did not work. Escape. Okay, so what I'm doing is the dimensioning tool did not pick up the hole. There it is. Now, I know I'm placing that in the margin. The reason I'm putting it in the margin is because there's really not a better place for me to put it. And what I'm doing is I'm zooming in because my mouse is not picking this up. Yeah. Okay, so there are the hole dimensions. And then I will come down here and grab this hole dimension. And there's probably, there's a better way to do this that we're going to, this would be better to do with an annotation as well. Good grief. I don't know what it is picking up. But Okay, now we have to do those whole dimensions there. We cannot do them here because even though these look like solid lines, are actually hidden lines. They look like they're solid object lines, but if you look at the length of the hidden line there, that's about the length of what we're seeing, and so it's just too small for it to dash the lines. I know that's probably a little bit confusing. And now I have like a random thing. I have like a random dimension there. We're gonna escape out of that. That's not where we needed to go. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to do one dimension on this view. I am going to dimension from there to there. So I clicked the bottom and the top. Rewind it if you need me to. If you need to, okay. And what it's doing is it's showing you these two arrows and it's pointing to that and saying that is 1/4 of an inch thick. Okay. So now over here where it says text, okay, we are going to create a note. We don't want a whole note. We want just text. Okay. And next to that, I am going to annotate. So specify the opposite corner. And in here, I'm going to type all sides have thickness 0.25 inches. And that is my annotation. So instead of trying to go around and find it everywhere, I am just going to measure it once and then put this note on there that says all sides have a thickness of. Now for my design specifically, okay, because all of my holes were the same size, okay, like all of them, it probably would have been better for me to have measured one of them and then done this. All holes have diameter 0.3 inches. Okay, and then actually delete these extra measurements. Okay, and then maybe I'll click that one and move it a little bit closer. So that's actually like a cleaner way of doing it. Oh, I still have one over here. So I can go and delete that. And so there is my fully dimensioned Automata box. I've adhered to all the rules and I've used these annotations to help clean it up. Okay, so yay. Now, if that's all you want, that's enough for you to get your 100 on your assignment. So that was a whopping 23 minutes from start to finish. If you are interested though, I am going to do one more thing just for fun. So I'm going to come back over here and we're going to do new drawing from the design one more time. And what you're hearing is my cat just jumped up here. He's not very good at this. He's never taken a single math class and he doesn't understand anything about geometry, but he likes to think that he's helping. Okay, so we're gonna go and get that view. Okay, so this time, instead of placing the other views, I am going to do a section view. Okay, so I clicked section view here, and I am going to click my parent view, and then I'm going to click here, and then down here, and we are going to cut in. And what that does is it actually slices through the box. It actually slices through the box, and what we are now seeing is the right side. But see all these like hash marks in here? That is like we're cutting right through the solid material. So it's like we took a saw and we went like right down here and then looked at it from the side. And so I guess that's not the right side. That's the left side we're actually seeing. We're seeing like through there. Now, when you do that, you can then dimension the thickness of this back. Okay. And so this, I have absolutely no idea what I've done there. I am going to delete that. It had these things have yellow exclamation points anyway. Okay, let's try that one more time. So now I can dimension that thickness in the back there. And you would want to do that if you had not the same thickness. So in our last drawing, we were able to get around that by saying all sides have a thickness of, but let's say they didn't all have a thickness of, and we needed to actually give different dimensions. This is how we would do it. We would slice the drawing and we would like look at the piece that we needed to do the dimension of, and we would dimension that way. So that took an extra 2.5 minutes. I hope you stayed and watched all of it, and that you are now 100% prepared for doing your Automata multi-view drawing completely dimensioned using all these crazy new skills.